Many people who want to write a book have very clear understandings of what a book is supposed to look like, how many pages it's supposed to be, how many chapters you're supposed to have. But in this episode of The Written Compass, I want to get curious about a new book genre and exploring how that might actually support you even more than a traditional regular old book. I'm excited you're here. Let's dive right in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Written Compass. As I'm recording this is an episode that's going to drop at the end of the month. And I don't know about you, but time is just an interesting thing to me now. I don't know if it's just getting older. I don't know if it's because the work I do feels both like work and play, and I'm never really sure which one I'm doing, and that's on purpose. And so I don't work a typical 9 to 5, and I don't have a typical schedule, and I have luckily a lot of flexibility and freedom, but I do still pay attention when it's like, wow, it's the end of the month. We're on to a next month. So welcome. When you're listening to this, we'll be dropping at the end of February, and I'm just curious how things are going for you. What are you working on? What are your writing projects? How are you doing with all the things and intentions that you had for the year? I always love hearing from you all, so please drop me a line and let me know. And today I want to talk about something a little bit, it feels unusual because we're kind of experiencing it in the company with Synergy Publishing Group as I'm sharing about it. So thank you in advance for letting this be messy. As always, one of the tenets of the work we do is supporting our clients and really honoring their process. And part of that is letting it be messy and not necessarily knowing where we're going. And I feel like this topic for this particular episode is right on point with that. So as you hopefully have figured out, when the way that I talk about writing is very much driven by the writer, I am just as much focused on the writer and supporting the writer, coaching the writer, helping the writer stay in an embodied process and being connected to themselves, as much as I am supporting their words, the actual words and the writing that is coming out. And my team really enacts that as well. We do a great job together of supporting our clients in discovering the book that they want to write. Our clients do not have to come to us knowing exactly what they want to write about from the gate, no matter what their writing project is. If they're starting a blog or if they're wanting to start, we had one client who's getting ready to start a subscription kind of newsletter situation. And of course, we have our clients who are publishing books. We have our collaborative book projects, all of that good stuff. We don't feel it is necessary to know exactly what you want to write about before you start writing. And up until now, we've been typically publishing personal kind of growth books, self-help books, business strategy books, sort of lesson meets memoir types of books, and more. We really love this idea of kind of these, sometimes all of these get kind of mashed together in this beautiful collage. And what's really interesting is as we're supporting our clients, we're seeing them kind of dive into what feels like a little bit of a new genre. And right now, I'm kind of calling it an interactive book. And that may or may not be a phrase that sticks. That may be a phrase that you've heard before. And it's not that the idea of writing in a book or having pages to write in is something new. It's just this really interesting mix that we're noticing that I thought it would be cool to bring to the podcast. So what we're noticing is sometimes people come in and they're writing from their experiences. They're telling their stories. And I'm particularly thinking of one of our clients, Jody Odell. She is awesome. And she has one of these types of books out, this powerful interactive book that is, it's titled, I'll go ahead and give you the title so you can go check it out. You Don't Need Bangs, You Need a Life Coach, which, can we just pause for a minute and enjoy that title? Jody is a former hairstylist. She's actually continuing her hairstyling journey, but she's also a life coach. And because her life has had this beautiful merging and shifting and all of that kind of stuff, when we went in to support her on her book, she had a lot of different ideas and a lot of different ways that she could go in terms of the structure of the book. And because that wasn't super clear, our main goal was just to support her in getting words down. So she just started telling stories. She would get hits about this was an important moment in my life, when she decided to step into the world of hairstyling. And she has a really particular way that she approaches what feels like something simple, like getting a haircut. And she's always had that. And she has helped tons and tons of people, the way she kind of describes it, help their outsides feel like they match on the insides. So it's not for her about this superficial aesthetic, but more so about this alignment from the inside out. So as we were continuing to support her, she actually started, I'll just go ahead and kind of tell a lot of her process. She started with a lot of writing on pen and paper, and we love that. And that is totally fine. We have several clients who get going that way. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And then we would support her in shifting, over into some writing on her computer, and then us giving her feedback. And it was just this lovely back and forth with lots of pauses, lots of coaching and conversations. And then all of a sudden, it became really clear that as a coach, she wanted her readers, just like her clients, to be able to respond, to be able to engage and interact with these stories that she was telling. So very quickly after that, it became really clear that she was having this mixture of not just necessarily like chapter stories, but it was like longer chapter-like writing combined with journal prompts, and then space for readers, and this kind of nice back and forth. And we just loved it, and we ran with it, and we created this really cool way to support her, to everything from the way she wanted it to feel, the visual of it, the way the interactive parts looked. It's not just lines on paper. It's a mixture of blank pages. It's a mixture of grid paper. And again, it's not that I haven't seen these things in journals or planners or or kind of what I'm calling interactive books before, but there's just something a little bit different that I just personally, as a writing coach, have not experienced before. And I love it. And the reason I love it is because if you're someone that's sitting there going, I don't think I could sustain a 100, 150, 200 page book with just top to bottom words in it, I want to invite you to get curious about what if you can let go of that understanding of what a book is, which it totally is. And if you could create anything you wanted, what could you see having in it, especially if it was a reflection of who and how you are as a person and you showing up just full spectrum you? Would it include words at all? Question mark, question mark. Would it have blank pages? Would it have invitations to engage your reader in a certain way? Would it have places you want your reader to go or things you want them to do? Just getting really curious about how we can have for lack of a better word, a book in our hands in front of us, offer that to the world, but we take our readers on a journey. And I don't just mean a storytelling journey, but an interactive journey. So this is a really cool and interesting thing that we are just leaning right into. We've got another client who's creating something similar, but again, it's different because it's her own process and her book has emerged in this collective recursive back and forth process. But I just get really curious about how we can continue to poke holes in and bust open ideas around what a book has to be, what a book is supposed to look like, what writing has to be, and what writing is supposed to look like. Because guess what? There are no rules. Yes, there are things that people have come to understand and expect, and we have the power to offer people and invite them into engaging with us in whatever way we see fit. And that's a really cool thing to think about when it comes to writing. And I think it allows us to not only maybe be more accessible to more people who have amazing stories and things they want to share. I think it also is a way to access people who maybe don't feel like they are traditional readers, or struggle to read. And then we can offer them this opportunity to engage in these things without having to read a 200-page book on how to have a successful business, you know? So I just get really curious around all of these things. It makes me think of inclusivity. It makes me think of all of the beautiful neurodivergent humans in the world. I just get really curious about all of this. So if you could create a new book genre, this is my invitation as we kind of close out this episode. If you yourself, with your next publication or what you've been thinking about publishing, if you could create a new genre, a new way for a book to look, or a new way for a reader to be engaged, what would that be? What would that look like? I cannot wait to hear your ideas on this. And I would absolutely, my team and I would love to support you in thinking through this and getting you going. Because if you've got the idea, it's meant to be out in the world, plain and simple. You have a story, your voice matters. Oh my goodness, I'm excited. I'm glad this episode kind of popped up in a random way before I came to the recording. And I'm super excited that I just went for it and shared it, because now I'm going to go hop off and talk to my team more about how we can kind of get this word out of this new genre or genres or whatever it is that we wind up coming up with our clients. Amazing. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Written Compass. If you are enjoying this content, do me a favor and go and review the podcast. This allows me to share and get these messages out to the people who really need them, who we want to read their books in the future. You can also go and share your thoughts and tag me at Shana Hartman _ on Instagram. Again, this is just a way for us to get connected and share the writing love. And if you know that you are ready to write your book, that message that's been burning inside of you for a long time, then I want to talk to you. My team and I want to talk to you. Head on over to shanahartman.com and click Work with Us. From there, you'll see an application to explore and see if writing your book is your next best step.